Hello, ballers and a brofist to you! It is, of course, Wednesday, 27th of February. It's almost over. February's almost gone. The live stream's almost over. A return to YouTube is imminent. Yeah. But today, it is, of course, that wonderful day where you, wonderful, awesome, amazing people from around the globe, send me a video of you playing World of Warcraft. And then I go and just go balls out and call you names and all that kind of stuff. But in general, I really try and help you out. We looked at all kinds of things last week. Terrible UIs, people doing all sorts of crazy stuff. But this week, we're switching it up once again. Brand new topic. On that subject, I want to remind you that tomorrow's daily, we're going to be writing a guild application. Something many of you struggle with, either because of language barriers. English, not your native language. Should you be punished for that? No. And, of course, writing guild applications is the #1 way of ensuring you get into a guild, right? Pretty hard to do it without a good application. If your application is good, people take note of you and think you're super awesome. Even if you're the best player, a shit application says a lot. Says a lot. So we're going to be writing a guild application tomorrow. Should be pretty cool. We'll put some funky stuff in there. And this week, it is, of course, talking about DPS. DPS. DPS is a hard thing to do. I attain that it is, in fact, the most difficult thing to master in this World of Warcraft. Being the top DPSer in the world is something you should be striving to do. If you're raiding, you are not raiding against your fellow raiders. You're not doing that. You're raiding against everybody else who plays your class in the whole entire world. That's 10 million gangsters. 10 million gangsters out there who are all whacking away at mobs, kicking ass, taking names. You want to be #1. Having been there, it's a great feeling. It is. It's a wonderful feeling to go, I did the most ever. In the history of the game, I did the most. It's cool. I want you to get there too. I'm still waiting for that day when somebody who follows my channel sends me that world #1. We've had some world #3s, some #7s, some #4s, and everything in between. But nobody quite yet has reached that #1 point. Make me a hero, guys. Make me a hero. Okay. We're going to be looking at a Shadow Priest, a Feral Kitty Cat Druid, and we're going to be looking at a Frost DK as well. Now, the running theme of this, I've got one workshop which is like needs a lot of work. That's going to be the main bulk of the workshop today, and it's the Feral Druid. It needs a lot of work. It needs a lot of work. And surprisingly, it's very well geared, Feral Druid, in fact. Very well geared. The other two, we're going to be focusing on the idea of movement. People struggle with movement. They usually send me an LFR, and they, as soon as movement comes into it, they're like, I'm fine whacking away at a training dummy. I've practiced on the training dummy. Training dummy doesn't really make you move anywhere. People get all goofed up and fuck it up. As soon as we move, we're all kind of like, I don't know what to do now. And all DPS comes to a stop. Of course, for every single second that boss is in combat, your DPS should be up there. Okay? You need to be doing something every single time. Every single time that boss is doing something. If that boss is active, that is your DPS. Remember, DPS is damage per second. It's based around how long that boss was in combat. Every global cooldown you waste is lost DPS. It doesn't exist, your DPS goes down. Simple stuff, simple stuff. So, I'm going to kick off with the hard one. Okay, this is kind of a hard one for me because it's a big job. It's a very, very big job. As usual, we're going to kick off with the standard, what do you think of the UI? Now, I will point out in this, okay, I read the notes that came along with it. And the notes pointed out quite clearly that the UI in question did get changed to stop. Oh my God. Please, for the love of God, I beg of you, with all my heart, as one man to either a lady or a baller, please do not send me videos in .flv. It upsets me. It makes me genuinely upset. It does. Don't do it. MP4, baby. MP4. MP4 is heavy metal. It's baller. It's all good. MP4. Okay, so let's look at this UI. Yes, the sun is beaming in. It is hot again. But it's cold in here. Okay, let's go. As usual, tell me what you think of the UI. Now, I want to point out, he did contact me to say he's got rid of the healing text, okay? The healing text is gone, so before you all freak the fuck out, all the healing and shit going on, ignore that. Ignore that. He's got rid of that. He's got rid of that scrolling battle text. It's gone. It's gone. It's gone. It's gone. It's gone. We're looking at everything else. Everything else other than the obvious healing stuff. and just anything that you think is kind of interesting. Kind of interesting. Why no woman? Come on. Let's see what we've got some opinions here. Overlapping everywhere. It's everywhere. Yeah, that's what I wanted to see. That's what I wanted to see. Overlap. Overlap is a fucking nightmare. The thing that caught me first and foremost, you can't see your own health. You can't see your own health, and you can't see what the health of the mob is. You can't see it. You don't know what health you are. The petrify bar is right in there, baby. You can't see what health you have at all. You have no idea. All you know is that you're probably above 15%, and of being around 15%, 16% is a bad place to be. Okay? It's not the special magic number. You need to know what health you have. You also kind of need to know what health the boss has. What health the boss has. But going into this, let's look at exactly what we're looking at here. Of course, we've got the 3 boss frames at the side. Amethyst Guardian here, blah, blah, blah. This is a pain in the ass, petrification bar, but whatevs. We can't see anything. Now, this does become a problem later in the video. He's actually going to physically unlock these frames and start moving them around. That's actually going to happen. And we're also going to see, other than that, it's not actually too bad. The scrolling battle text is definitely like a really pain in the ass kind of nightmare. But there's overlapping going on here. Quest objectives, who cares, right? We're raiding. I just want to point out, you don't res this guy. That makes me really sad. Don't be that druid. Don't be that druid. Don't be that guy when someone dies in your LFR and you don't res them, right? Okay, so he died. Whatever, he goofed up on the stone guards. Res the bastard. Otherwise, he's just going to go AFK. I did. This is the only person in the Stone Guard, LFR, for shits and gigs who obeyed the mechanics. I died. I was the only one. Solo soaking. Solo soaking that boss like a trooper. And I died. Nobody res me. So I just went and got a drink. I just went and got a drink, and then I came back and somebody kind of res me. Usually do. Usually do. Okay. So overall, the UI is actually pretty good. Now, we're going to talk about the obvious problem that comes up here. And it comes at about 3:43. No, 3 minutes. Okay. We're about to pull. Now, I'm going to pause it. Where was it? There. What's wrong with this? Come on. You've all done Stone Guard. What's wrong with this? What is wrong with this? What is wrong with this? Aha! Urgar for the win. Wrong mob. This is going to be a classic tale of... There's a classic tale going to happen here. And I'm hoping this is going to really help this guy out. There's quite a few problems we've got to bump into. Firstly, we don't understand the boss fight. That becomes very evident, very, very clear. And in fact, from this first screen, you can see we don't understand the boss fight. Clearly, we don't really know how this boss works. We're not sure. We've kind of got an idea, but we do not know. This screenshot tells a million things. It tells us, one, we have no idea how the Stone Guard works. That's okay. That's okay. Understanding the boss comes later in our raiding. Don't panic, it's okay. But we should start thinking about this, because the top key to DPS, 3 steps, I repeat it every single time. How does my class work? How does the boss work? How can I put them both together to kick ass? That's when you become truly great at World of Warcraft and truly great at DPSing, tanking, healing, whatever. So he's not really sure how the Stone Guard works. If you're not sure why this screenshot is so telling, is these carry an aura. You can see it there. That means that if they are not next to one of these mobs, they take 90% less damage. Therefore, as a DPSer, starting on this boss is a bit of a pisser. So we're going to start the boss, and you're going to see a very obvious problem, is the boss is in combat from 3 minutes. About 3 minutes. So I'm going to start it here. 51, 52, 53, 54. Goes into Prowl. Correct. Goes into Prowl, as he should be doing. Should be going into Prowl. The advantage of being able to stealth, get close to the boss. You should be, as I said to the rogues, you should be sniffing the boss's nutsack. I want to know what this boss had for breakfast. If you can get into stealth, you should literally be licking the crumbs on its testicles. You should be that close. That you are ready to rock and roll. And he's kind of moving into position, but he's targeting the wrong mob. Targeting the wrong mob. And as a stealther, you're actually further away than the actual guys. And there's the pull. There's the pull. At 3 minutes and 2, there's the pull. Let's wait. Now your DPS has started. The boss has started. It's done. We're still creeping. We're creeping. We're creeping. We're creeping. We attack. There we go. We attack. 3 minutes and 12. 10 seconds. If you're ever going to be good at DPS, 10 seconds, you might as well have just heartstoned out. I'm fucking serious. I cannot stress this enough. If you're not engaging from anywhere between the first and second of a boss fight, You might as well Hearthstone out. Your DPS is going to suck. Your DPS is going to be bad. Really bad. It's just going to happen, unfortunately. Your DPS is instantly ruined. 10 seconds is an eternity. It's an absolute fucking eternity. It's not going well at all. Okay, so we're in position, and this is where we get confused, okay? The Feral Druid is very well geared. Not really sure how our class works. So this is why I said knowing the boss is the next part of the battle. Not really sure how the Feral Druid really works, and I'm kind of interested if any of you spot why. I kind of want to skip along. I don't want to show you the bit I want to see yet. Now, there's something happening on the screen that lets you know he's not entirely sure how his class works. Let me see if you can spot it. It's pretty noticeable, pretty noticeable. It might not happen if you've not been a Feral Druid before. Not been a Feral Druid before, you might not notice. Yay! Cyrix picked up on it, okay? I want you to watch here. You can see both Rake and Shred. Said Mangle. Noob. Damn it. Damn it, Cyrix. Jesus. We're spamming Rake and Shred. Big problem with this. Okay? Big problem with this. We're spamming both of them. They got them like 1 and 2. He's like, spamming both of them. Rake and Shred. One does incredible DPS. One is just a debuff. Both generate combo points. One has lesser energy than the other. Can you guess what? Does anybody know what the energy cost of Shred is, out of interest? If you know. I double checked, but I did have it right. I did have it right. I did have it right. 40. Yes, correct. 40. How much does Rake cost? How much does Rake cost? 35. Correct. Rake costs 35. One does huge amounts of damage and costs 40 energy. The other one is a debuff, which does decent damage, but it's a debuff. It's a bleed. It's a dot. It does 35 damage. When you are doing this, one of those two is always going to be pressed first, barring some unnatural amount of energy regen. If you are pressing Rake and Shred at the same time because you know you need to do both, you're going to press Rake, 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 Rake. You're not going to be shredding. This has just cost you probably almost 35-40% of your damage. Okay? 35% of your damage has just disappeared because you're doing that. And that is no exaggeration. It's ridiculous. The amount of damage you have lost because you're doing this is insane. Absolutely crazy. Because every time you're doing this, all you're doing is Rake, 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 Rake. What you're not doing is what you should do is Rake, Shred, 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 Shred. The other thing we need to get out of the habit of, we talked about this with the rogues, is it feels like a spammy class because you need to press Shred as soon as it's off cooldown. It's not. Slow that motherfucker down. Slow it down like a bastard. Energy does not regen that fast. In fact, one of the key problems at the moment with energy-based classes like the rogues is that they feel like there is so much downtime because energy regen is too fucking slow. Slow that bastard down. It feels like a speedy spec. It feels like I need to spam, 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 spam. You don't do that. Your energy will not cap out. It doesn't really work out that way. Your energy has plenty, and you can start doing things like relaxing. Biggest key towards DPS is about being relaxed about what the hell you are doing. Spamming is not relaxing. Spamming is not relaxing. 2 buttons. It's not. You can start planning ahead. I should rip this guy. What's happening? The Feral Druid has a wonderful ability of planning ahead by about 20 seconds. It's an amazing gift to have while still pulling amazing DPS numbers. Okay? You have about 20 seconds to plan out what you want to do next because your energy doesn't regen that fast. It doesn't. And things cost a lot. So when you do fire off something, it's going to cost you like 40 energy, 35 energy, and then you're way, way back down. It costs you like a third, if not more, of your energy every single time. It's a relaxing spec. So let's chill the fuck out. Stop spamming. Take your time. Start thinking about what you're doing. This was a big problem back in the day with Omen of Clarity. Spammers really got punished for being spammy when Omen of Clarity existed. Omen of Clarity, of course, gave you a free attack. Nothing teaches you to stop spamming than if you keep wasting free attacks on things that don't cost a lot of energy. When you get Omen of Clarity, you want to shred because it costs the most. You get the most bang for your buck. We always want to do that, right? We always want to do that. So, we want to go ahead. Now, again, the next part of this that we really want to look at, there's only a few tips I want to drop into this because there's a lot to work with and I would love it if you would send me another video. after we do this. Our main goal here is firstly to clear this UI up so we know what the hell we're doing. And this is bad. This is really bad. Tiger's Fury. Tiger's Fury is super fucking awesome, amazing. It should never be off cooldown, right? Unless you're super pro and know how to line it up perfectly. Unless you know how to line this bad boy up perfectly, use it all the fucking time. Get it on cooldown. Do not let it sit there. That's why we still need to get that tell me when. We still need to get tell me when in there. We need to get that thing popping up on our screens that we need to use our Tiger's Fury. Going on. And then we know we need to rip. Now this fight is actually based around the idea. It's actually really cool for Ferals because we do something called Bleed Cleave. Bleed Cleave is something I really want you to work on. Bleed Cleave is really awesome. Bleed Cleaving is, this fight is designed for what's called Bleed Cleaving. Most of our damage as a Feral Druid comes from bleeds. That's where it comes from. It just comes from bleeds. With these many mobs, we do what's called Bleed Cleaving, which is dropping down Rake and Rip on all three of the mobs, and then just cycling through them, keeping Rake and Rip on all three. And we kind of struggle with that here. This is, it's a little bit too focused on one mob. We're not really keeping Rip up. We're kind of tunneling on one. We're also stood in Amethyst pools. We want to make sure we don't do that. We're chilling in there. But it's hard to actually see that you stood in the Amethyst pool without checking the debuff over here. But you are chilling in an Amethyst pool there. You can see you damage 15k every few seconds, 33k, 33k, so on and so forth. And we want to get a big tag on that. Big thing we need to do is understand our class. Big thing we need to do is understand our class. We've got all the stuff there. It's all in front of us, and it's very, very easy. We're very spammy. Very, very spammy. We're very spammy with Rake and Shred. We're doing everything we think we should do, but we're overwriting each other. The fact that Rake is cheaper than Shred is really fucking you over. Majorly fucking you over, and you don't want to do that. I'll just go to the next one. There's your clear cast, your Omni Clarity, but don't worry about that now. Like, I can see some people talking about Omni Clarity. I don't want him to worry about that right now. Not what we need to worry about right now. I just want to slow that shit down, okay? That's maybe another workshop, is to talk about some more advanced stuff. I don't want to do that now. That's not overwhelming. It's not what we want to do now. We don't want to do that. What we want to do is get the basics underway. We want to keep Rip up 100% of the time, and we want to take it easy. As you can see, even while we're single targeting, you can see your Rake barely ever. As you can see, it's permanently refreshing. The Rake is permanently refreshing all the time. And that's the proof there that you're constantly being raking. You're not shredding. And you're losing so much DPS from doing that. That's the big thing to work on. The next stuff is then also to Bleed Cleave. I'd like to work on your Bleed Cleave for 3 mobs. And just generally get used to keeping everything on cooldown. Get a nice big tell me when. Let's see what's going on. And it's going to be okay. Okay, don't panic. But this is a huge problem. I don't want you to undervalue how much of a problem what you're doing is. It's massive. It's a huge problem. Just that. That is fucking you over. You will literally get another 30% DPS from just not doing that. It's goofing you up. It's goofing you up, man. Don't do it. Don't do that. I don't want you to do that. That would be bad. That would be really bad. I don't want you to do that. But a couple of little things to work on. So if you would just change that. I want you to just change that. And then literally just send me another workshop with the difference. A little bit of difference. And especially do me a Stone Guard again. Let's fix this pull. You should be over there. You should be right underneath this fucking boss. Right underneath this boss. You should be there and you should be ready to go. This is really bad. Let's not do this. And then getting into this, get out of this habit of being confused. We're not worried about position just now. I'm going to talk about position in the next couple. But position is a little bit tricky. It's not working out too well, but that will come with time. And maybe we'll look at that in another workshop, okay? So that's the one I really want you to work on, is those 3 things. Awesome. Super awesome. Don't do it. Not spammy. Not spammy. The next one we'll look at is Shadow Priest. Shadow Priest. And then we're gonna start looking at the idea of position. In fact, no, I'm going to do the Frost DK because it demonstrates it in a much more bolder manner. The Shadow Priest is pretty good, but looking to get better, which is awesome. Pretty good, but looking to get better. This one's going to demonstrate some crazy things. It's actually kind of fun. I don't mean to mock, but I'm going to. First things first, let's look at the UI. Let's see what you say about the UI. I bet you're not going to say much. I bet you're not going to say much. Clean, pretty neat, no omen. Hey, the Shadow Priest has Omen. I got you, bro. I got you. Yeah, it's nice and clean. Nothing wrong with this UI at all. In fact, the major problem with this UI is maybe only DKs will notice this. Maybe the only DKs will notice this. Some people can play like this. I personally can't. Some people can play like this. Class time. I don't know why. I recommend Class Timer to every single one of you. It's really, really, really good. Class Timer is really good. For some reason, when you standardly install Class Timer, it does not track Blood Plague. It's really annoying. It's really annoying. And I kept thinking to myself, you haven't got Blood Plague on ever. But in fact, you have got it on. As you can see there, Blood Plague is clearly on. It doesn't track it. You have to turn it on. It's just, yeah, it doesn't track everything as standard. I don't know why it doesn't track Blood Plague, but it doesn't. It doesn't need a rune down on. You can track his runes there. But what we're actually going to see is a few little errors. So I want to go to here. Yep. Movement. This is one is about movement, okay? This one's about movement. He's actually pretty good at tracking his stuff. Now, for whatever reason, it could be the UI and not tracking the runes. There's a little confusion on the button presses. I actually suspect, I don't know if he's in the chat or whatever, that he's, from the video, it looks to me like he only very, very recently started key binding. Very recently. Or you're not 100% comfortable with it, because everything is key binded quite nicely, but some movement errors occur, which seems you're not overly confident with the key bindings yet, but I could be wrong on that. Could be wrong with that. Yeah, oh, that's you? It's just a Ben. Okay, there you can see. So from the video, I could kind of tell it's just recently key binded, okay? So there's still a little bit of looking at the buttons going on, and that's going to demonstrate here. Okay, so we're going to go in. Come on, buddy. Get in there. Badoosh! We're in! Howling Blast! Now, I did notice you used Pestilence there. Don't do that. Frosty Case, don't Pestilence. Leave that to him, holy chodes. We don't Pestilence. Frosty DKs don't Pestilence, brah. Pestilence is for scrubs. Remember that. Scrub unholy DKs. Right? There's not Pestilence. But we go in. You can see we kind of got a delay on here and stuff like that. But it's fine. He's key binding. He's getting things going. He's getting things going. And then watch what happens. This is a little bit of not real. This could be down to what's about to happen. Could be down to the fact that we're not really sure what health the mobs are on. Be it a boss, be whatever. But we see we change here. Now watch this movement. We go and chase a mob that's on 1%. We actually change target. This is what I found interesting here. Just in this first pull, is this mob's got a lot of health. I'm always aware, 100% of the time, of what health they're on. So if I look at this situation, let me pause it there. I see this mob's got nothing. I see this mob's got a shitload of health. At best, I'm going to Soul Reaper that one and continue on this. It's a tab, Soul Reaper back. What I'm not going to do is this. I'm not going to follow that motherfucker. And then get kind of confused and then go back. There's like a little confusion there, which comes a little bit from not knowing exactly what mob health's on. It's like you didn't expect it to die. This could be a UI fix. This could be a case of just fixing the UI or something like that. But it seemed to me in these few seconds you had no idea what mob health was on. Because he died and you were like, oh, it's dead. Oh shit, keyboard turned around and then went back about our business. And then went back going to do what we were going to do. And that kind of situation is like, I kind of need to fix that. Now, something, I've got to warn you, okay? Something really funny happens in a minute. I know what he was trying to do, but he was a little confused about how to do it. And I don't mean to mock, but it is kind of funny. And you'll laugh as well when you see it, but it's pretty cool. If I could get away with playing music, I would. I would. Okay, so we're going to get ready for the boss like we do. We chill out there. Dwarf DK. You ready? Should we do the moonwalk? Don't death indicate. Dun, 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 dun. What the hell were you doing then? What the hell were you doing then? I thought when I was watching this video, I thought that bit was hilarious. I don't know why. It's just funny because you were trying to pull the boss. It was almost as if, do you tank a lot? Can I ask you that question? Do you tank a lot? I'm really interested. I'm genuinely interested. Do you tank a lot before you play Frost, or are you just generally Frost? Because this is a kind of tanking maneuver. This is kind of a tanking thing to do. If you were a tank, this would make sense. You're trying to pull the boss across the room. But you obviously, as a DPSer, you don't have aggro, so it doesn't kind of work. Yeah, he expected the tank to move. This is all what's happening here, is the expectation of what should happen. 5-mans don't work as expected. Never. Never work as expected, okay? So once we get to a certain point, ran in, not sure about that D&D, and then this happened. I'm not going past there, ever, right? If that guy hasn't moved, I'm certainly not going to the back of the room. Like this. Okay? All the way back there. It's like you bounced. You like pinballed off and then backed up again. Back up. You are waiting for the boss to come over. Boss isn't coming over. Risk is part of being a good DPSer. Safety, not really. Not really, okay? That wall is not going to kill you, and you're pretty sure you know where that wall is. It's the tank's job to move the boss. When you're DPSing, if it isn't going to kill you, you don't move, right? Pretty much. Unless it's going to kill you or cause your healers amazing amounts of pain, you glue yourself to the fucking boss. You are killing the boss. Job number 1, kill boss, get records, collect loots. When you go in there, this is for any of you, get in there, the tank will move the boss. Lots of people have watched me play 5-mans in the last 3 weeks while I've been live streaming. I always say, are you not going to move it? I say it regularly on the stream in a dungeon, oh, the tank's not going to move it. I get to myself the safest possible position without letting go of that boss's balls. The balls are in a perimeter, okay? And you need to hold on to them, because every time, look what happened to your damage. You played it safe, got shit on by the damage. Because everybody else is just fucking doing DPS. They're doing what they want to do. You got shit on because you played it safe. You should be over here, kicking ass, taking fucking names. I want to see you glued to the boss. It is not your job to move it. And now we start DPSing. It's almost a case of, like we saw previously, I just want to note that you haven't got Blood Plague on. Again, that could be just a class timer issue. Simple thing to fix. But always pull with Outbreak anyway, or at least Unholy Blight if you're carrying it. There goes the big DPS cooldowns. Playstyle isn't that bad. It's the movement. It's the movement. I get the feeling just because we sit on things like Rhyme for an extended period of time that we're looking here. There's a little thing to get out of the habit of, but it's not major. You can see, look how close this wall is. You know this is safe. You're doing what you should have done at the start right now. This is what you should be doing at the start. You know this thing is going to kill you here. That's going to kill you. You're safe here. You're fine. It's the tank's job to move it. And then you predict it. You know how to do this, but then you back off way, way back. All this stuff. This is like AFK time. You're very, very scared of dying. Very scared of dying. Like, amazingly so, actually. The only thing that can kill you, you remember as a DPS raid, if this is a raid, a 5-man, whatever, you only need, realistically, a DPSer only needs to care about whatever can kill them. Can this kill me? That's what I'm scared of. What kills me in this fight? The ice wall. Everything else, I don't give a shit about. As long as I avoid ice wall, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be fine. All I care about is the ice wall. Safety, you kind of need to bend the rules on safety. A good DPSer will always ride the line between what is safe and what is not. Those are the guys who are going to be at the top of the DPS. And your DPS could be at least twice this, easily. Easily. Your tank's so chill, he's complaining, and there's your ice wall gone, and there's straight on 6. So when you're single targeting, you're fine. But your big concern right now is movement, which will get better. As you get more comfortable key binding, you'll get better. You can see there's a delay on certain abilities that you want to use. You can see we're spamming a little bit. You can see when Rhyme procs, we're still trying to spam Obliterate. That's more something we've covered in another workshop about not overriding Rhyme. Rhyme is like free DPS. It's good. It's good. And you can see we've still sat on Rhyme here while casting other spells. Our entire vision here is there. That's kind of the problem here. Our vision is completely here. That is, at least everything we are looking at right now is just in this area. All this big, giant, wonderful, clean space. This is a wonderful UI. Your user setup is designed to kick ass and take some names. But all this is going to waste right now. All this is going to waste. Every single aspect of it, because we're down here. Now, it could be that you just converted to a keybinder and you're just not quite comfortable with it yet. That's fine. But we want to be aware of it. We only just use Outbreak. Now we got down to this as we switch targets. Kind of confused at the beginning. But you're going to start seeing huge DPS numbers once you fix this fear. Fear is a fucking killer. Fear will screw up your DPS. There will be that moment in a raid This was most often visible. Spine of Deathwing Heroic was kind of cool for this. There are DPSs who will stand at the very, very edge of where that fucking Blazing Inferno, whatever the shit it was called, will explode. On Heroic or not. I killed it tons of times. And they will stand literally at the ball sniff of where that thing will explode. Because they want to get back in there as soon as possible. They will not run a good 40 yards. If that explosion is 30 yards, they won't go 40 yards for safety. They will go to 31 yards. Maximum. That's it. And they will stand there and they will fucking take it like a boss. If they misjudge it, so be it. Practice, practice, practice. And then they are back in instantly. The second it's in, you glue yourself to your target. That is, especially as a melee. As a melee, you glue yourself to your target and you find out what can kill you and what can't. If this will kill you, that's what you avoid. If it won't kill you, then you don't bother. You don't bother. That's just the way it works. So it looks a little bit of movement there. We're going to look at a better player who's more advanced, who's rocking some decent gear and has got some of the basics down. It's a Shadow Priest. And a few things are goofing up here. What we're not quite getting now is the second part, is understanding how the boss works and then mixing that in with our class. We're going to look at a Shadow Priest. A Shadow Priest is always good. I'm going to get to 105. I do like my Shadow Priest. I can't wait to play it some more. Yeah, Shadow Priest. Dude, that was a one-shot. Exactly. So that's what we want to avoid, right? That's what I'm saying. If the wall will kill you, that's what we're not doing. That's what we're not doing. So here's our Shadow Priest friend. Again, we're going to look at the UI. Off goes the bull. I love that you had the Devouring Plague ready, by the way. I don't know if you're in the chat, but the fact you had that Devouring Plague ready, lovely. Absolutely fucking lovely. Going on. What do you think of the UI? What do we think? Warlock fail. Yeah, there's a click in there. Again, recently keybinded. Dots much? Really like it. Macy likes it. Good clean. Basic Rage UI. Yeah, it's pretty standard. It's pretty standard. There's nothing amazing standing out. This is a problem. You can turn this off. This is Pitbull. You can reduce this down very, very quickly. You don't need this. Yeah? I have it at 1 line because I just like to check certain things sometimes. I have it at like 1.5 lines or something like that. I don't want it to override buffs. Is my main idea for this. Again, this is a more advanced player than what we've looked at today. But yeah, let's turn this fucker down. We don't need to see everybody's debuffs in the world, but I do like to track a few. Now, that's personal reasons. Some of you don't like to track any. I fully understand that. Some people don't like to track any. I like to watch out for certain things. I don't know why. I call it a compulsion, if you will. But I still have around a row and a half of debuffs, something like that. A row and maybe 3/4. But I always prioritize the buffs. The boss buffs are more important. I have them bigger. But it's one thing to know is. Tell me when. You started using Tell Me When. I don't know whether this was recent or not. Now, you kind of goofed it up. Which is a shame, because it's causing you one massive, massive problem. As a Shadow Priest, our #1 goal is what? Should I answer? Should I answer the question? To use as many Mind Blasts as humanly possible, right? We want to use as many Mind Blasts as humanly possible. Is Omen not on this one? Oh, it might have been on the first one. It might be the Feral Druid. Sorry. Sorry, it might have been on the Feral Druid. It's to use as many fucking as many Mind Blasts as possible. We want to Mind Blast, Mind Blast, Mind Blast. What you've done is a kind of classic thing, and it's almost a psychological thing. I know, getting deep, right? Getting deep. You're tracking everything you've got on the boss. Now, that's cool and all. We need to do that in some fashion. You also have Mind Blast showing its cooldown and not when it's ready. In your head, this is causing you this problem. Everything you see in front of you is in some fashion going to use. It's not the case with the Mind Blast cooldown. Mind Blast cooldown is cool, but when it's always on your screen. When something is always on your screen, you start ignoring it. Not by much. Not by much, mind, but you start ignoring it. As opposed to when you need to use it, it flashes up in some fashion. It's okay to set the cooldown to a couple of seconds before it's due off cooldown, but the way Mind Blast works can be very, very random. It can be like, it's ready to go now, we need to use it now. It's very rare it kind of goes to the end of its cooldown, right? Because you have it in your face all the time, you actually start ignoring it a little bit. That's costing you a lot of Devouring Plagues. It's your #1 DPS spell, blah, 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 blah. It filters down the line. Okay? Filters down the line. We're not tracking important things. Like Halo, okay? I don't care what level 90 talent you choose for whatever reason. But if you do choose one, use it. For the love of God, use it. The idea of the things that flash in front of you, as I did it in the top DPS guide. I did a whole thing on YouTube. This is how you max your DPS. This is what the top players are doing. This is what I do. It works. Is if you have something on a reasonably middle-ish cooldown, not 5 minutes, not 10 minutes. If you have something on like a 30-second, 40-second fucking cooldown, put a tell me when in it so you get the best use out of it. Alright? You use Halo like 4 times, man. And this fight is awesome for Halo. In fact, you do something in a minute which is really fucking awesome, and you never do it again. And you never do it again. But whatever. Whatever. I'm just pointing it out. It's before people notice it. You don't use Halo. And it really annoys me. There's Halo. For those of you wondering, there's Halo right there. Not being used. I don't know what's going on here. I don't know what that is. A trinket, maybe? Looks like a trinket. Kind of looks like a trinket. But that's pretty cool. It's alright. It's overlapping with your buffs. A little small fix. Now, I want to go to 2 minutes and 13, which is about to roll up anyway. Used Halo now. And it was actually, for some reason, I don't know how this works, because Halo is pretty slow. How you timed this irritates me, because I don't think I could do it. I'm not sure if I would be that confident to time it that way. But you timed Halo, so it hit the second the ad spawned. Mwah. Then you never did it again. That really annoys me. It upsets me. It upsets me a lot that you did it so well. I'm going to show it again. I'm going to show it again. Here it comes. Now, this does goof us up a little bit. This does goof us up a little bit because I want you to watch the mouse. See his mouse hand? Now, there's the Halo. It hits like a boss. I've actually missed it. No, keep going. Yeah, the Halo hits. GG. Look of the draw. Let me just check. I put down a time, but I'm not sure if it's right. Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. And we did the correct decision here. We started mind spiking these down. No big deal. You did your Halo, and it was wonderful, but never did it again. It was great. It was absolutely amazing. You never did it again. I don't know why you did that. What I wanted to show is around about here. We kind of... Oh, it's here. I know I'm going to get this. I'm going to get it. Right, there. Watch the mouse. You kind of suspected, I think, this is what I got from this moment, is that these ads are about to spawn, and you started getting ready for it. You got ready for it really, really, really early. Really, really early. To the point where it kind of fucked you up on your single target DPS. It's all very well and good. When is something about to happen? That's what boss timers are for, okay? We don't need to be waiting for it. And what we'll actually see here is the mouse getting ready. If you see here, he's waiting for it to happen. He starts moving his mouse around. See here? And he's waiting to target the mob. You can see he's getting in position for it, getting ready for it. Boom, there goes the Halo. And then he starts DPS. What happens during that period of time is you almost stop DPSing completely. Don't do that. Don't do that. You got overly prepared. You got overly prepared. And it's just like, it's frustrating because you're doing DPS is actually pretty good. You let Mind Blast sit a little while. I think a quick change of Tell Me When could do that and make it really happy. You also have a Tell Me When. This is kind of a personal thing, I guess, but you have a Tell Me When for Shadow Orbs and for Devouring Plague. A Tell Me When that just says Devouring Plague is ready is both of those in one, right? We're only going to use Devouring Plague on 3. Just stick it in 1 and that saves you an extra Tell Me When spot. Tell Me When plus. Tell Me When spot. Yeah. But yeah, I want to go to 5:17. Just briefly, just to reiterate this, 5:15, and there we go. We're sat with Halo. All these ads are there. We never did it again. It was a pretty good Halo. Halo's good damage if you can keep it up and you can get used to it, and that's okay. Now the next thing that I was saying, it's about a feel of confusion. The idea of confusion, and the confusion is about to start now. As a dot class, your camera is your best friend. You're a dotter. That is your good damage, right? It's coming from the dots. Pretty simple. If something's about to die, any DPSer can do this. Multi-dotter should be doing it as well. The camera is now your best friend because if something's about to die, we are looking for what we are going to DPS next. Before it dies, especially if we're in a safe position. We don't need to look at the mobs. One of the big things people noticed when I was doing LFR on Emperors as a Frost Mage, I don't look at the boss when I'm DPSing it. I'm watching ads. My camera doesn't even show the boss on the screen. I'm looking elsewhere. Get into the habit of that, because that's what causes this kind of problem that we're about to see now. So we're about to see him. He's got good stacks of draw power. Boom, boom, boom. No Halo. Do our mind spike business. And always be careful if you're not going to be able to kill these, or you're pretty sure. I mean, I think you get up to, what, 4 stacks of draw power in LFR. 4 I'm happy with. We get into position here. We could have done some DPS movement. We had an instant Mind Blast ready to go. And some dots. We should be ready. This is the first point. We should be ready to start DPSing. We shouldn't be moving all the time to here. Remember, safety point is here, although I have fallen off being too safe. We're never going to die here. Ever. This isn't going to kill us. Okay? It's not going to kill us. At this point, you should be swinging your camera around like it's your balls at a party. Swing that motherfucker around. Because this thing's going to die. We've just got to single target DPS it. That's it. We've done that a million times. We do that on dailies. We can just do that, right? Next thing to do is, what do we DPS next? What do we DPS next? And we actually run into a tricky situation. Okay? We run into a tricky situation. So here it comes. Boom. We actually do really well with your mind flake clipping, which was nice. This is bad. We don't know where to go. And we kind of... There's the keyboard turning. And we kind of... don't know where to go. Running in, remember your Shadow of Pain is instant. Go ahead and stick that bad boy on. And we're just kind of running in circles now. We're not really DPSing anything. This should all be pre-planned, because this is still DPS time. It's still DPS time. While this boss is active, it's still DPS time. We're a multi-dotter. Let's spread out some dots. Let's get some damage going. Let's do something. We have all these things to DPS. Now we've ended up tanking something. Getting ourselves in a kind of... Just getting Devouring Plague back up. I know what you were doing. You were getting your Devouring Plague, right? But that whole period of time is just confusion. Because when this thing dies, we just had no idea what we were doing next. It's at 50% and you can't die. Your camera should be everywhere. This goes for any DPSer. What am I killing next? You could be clicking through all of these. Clicking through them. What's next? What is next? What needs the most damage? Where can I get the best out of my damage? And we're now looking around. This is all DPS time. It's completely and utterly wasted. And we choose a mob that we can't really do anything with. And then we end up just fucking about with ads like a scrub-a-dub. Pre-planning is majorly important to being a DPS. You need to know what you're doing next. You need to know, what am I doing next? What am I killing next? What needs to be tackled? Let's get it sorted. Let's get the camera in action. Then this next situation, again, position, 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 position. I can't stress it enough. Position, 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 position. Every single time. Position. Always, always. Okay, well, tell me what's about to happen. This is the last final phase of Elegon in LFR. The super last final phase. What's gonna happen? Something's gonna happen that you've seen before. Seen before. He dies. Yes. Why though? Why? Why does he die? A butt ton of damage. That's one way of looking at it. Correct. Durr just said it. Never trust an LFR healer. Never trust an LFR healer. Ever. Under any circumstances. Unless you're going with friends, never trust an LFR healer. When everybody stacks up, they will never look at you. That's what you go into LFR thinking. You go into LFR thinking they will never look at you. In LFR, the rules change. The game changes up. If you don't stack up, they're not going to heal you. Position, position, position. Position also means accounting for idiocy. It does. Position, position, position. You are not playing in the best guilds in the world where that healer can do something in 5-6 seconds that somebody else couldn't do in 3 minutes. You're not playing with those guys. Not. So you need to get out of the habit of thinking that. Because that's not what's going to happen. What is going to happen is everybody stacks up and everyone's going to try and rake the HPS meters. That's what happens in LFR. They don't care if you die. If it's a choice between dropping Healing Rain on 30 people, 24 people, and spamming Chain Heal all around their toes, or casting a single healing wave on you, guess what they're going to do? Because it looks better on the healing meters. They're not going to get kicked. Especially when you're Shadow of Deathing yourself with massive stuff. So we do the correct thing. This would be alright. It would be okay, because you want to just get your DPS as soon as possible. Look where everybody else is. This is a telltale sign something is going wrong. Everyone else is over there. I'm here forever alone. Okay? Never trust an LFR healer. Don't do it. Because they don't give a shit. You might get the odd good one, but you go into LFR expecting them to not give a fuck. At all. And when everybody's grouped up like that, leap of faith the tank. That's quite wise. Make everybody come to you. Make the whole raid come to you. Make the whole raid come to you. So, there you go. It would be nice if all the casters were stood on you. That is not how it goes. And you can see your health going down. This would be my warning sign. 2, there's 3 or 4 warning signs. 1, everyone is stood away from me. 2, my health keeps dipping really badly and I'm only getting the odd heals from other people. Sure, it would be nice if everybody just sort of got together and was a little bit of friends or whatever, but it's not going to happen. Get your ass over there because the inevitable is going to happen. It is. You're going to die. Ba-dum-pff. And that is the end of Elegon for you. It's very hard to do DPS when you're dead. It is. It is. So a few things to work on there. I'd swap that tell me when round. I'd swap that tell me when on the Mind Blast so you know when it's ready. So when it pops up, you're like, I need to do something. I need to do something. When it pops into your face, it's like, oh, okay. When it's always on the screen, you start ignoring it. That sucks. You don't want to do that. You position, take note, and account for different situations. I'm in LFR. What's going to happen here? Is the raid stood 30 meters from me? One thing to notice all the time, and that even goes for heroic raiding. If in a heroic raid, or you're in a normal raid, or you've joined a new guild, and suddenly you find yourself stood alone, move. Move quickly, because that raid is doing something you don't know about at all. You don't know what the hell is going on. Move. Move, and save yourself. Dead DPS doesn't work. But the main thing, those are 2 minor things, and again, it's LFR, so don't worry too much. The main thing is this. Be prepared for the next 30 seconds. Always be thinking 30 seconds ahead. What am I DPSing next? This thing's going to die. What's next? Because every global cooldown counts, and every time you stop casting or doing anything, that's when your DPS really, really suffers, and that makes or breaks a good DPS. And also track things like Halo. You've got it for a reason, right? You've got it for a reason. Okay. I think a death is a good way to end. Is there any questions about this week's workshop? I will be back tomorrow for some questions. I did want to remind you again, of course, we're looking at a 25-man guild application process. Well, not a guild application process, not 25 or 10-man. Guild application process tomorrow. And then, of course, it's Drama Friday. And then it's Drinking Game Web Show on Saturday and Mr. Ghost's birthday. Hopefully everything we want for that will arrive on time. I'm kind of getting a bit worried now. But definitely, definitely do that. The application process. We're going to be looking at how you put together an application. Live stream February should be coming to an end on Friday. Okay, for those of you who've been following me for the last month while we've done the leveling process, should finish on Friday. It might run into Monday or Tuesday, hopefully not, depending on how much time I get in the evenings to sort of catch up and make up that sort of leg ground. Make me die of alcohol. That could be quite fun, but we are going to have fun on Saturday. Other than that, the only other announcement is I have a baby-related appointment on Friday. So the live stream will not start till like 1 PM or something. It's not great. It's not great. So for those of you watching on Friday, I will remind the people who join in the live stream of that as well. Other than that, that's it. Do we have any other questions? No, everyone looks pretty happy. That's awesome. That means we did things quite well. All right, so I will see you tomorrow at 9 AM if you follow the daily live stream. If not, I will see you tomorrow for an application process guide at 5 PM. All right, guys, you take it easy and have a great evening. Thank you for tuning in with me. All right, be good. Wait for the inevitable delay before I close. And now.